Gentlemen, welcome back to the Mass, which is my desk, and today is a very special day because it's a review day, and we are going to be looking at the Eachine. Let me put this up on the other camera for you. It is the Eachine TX02 all-in-one FPV camera. Now, I would like to say right from the very beginning, this product was not sent to me as from Banggood for a honest review. Instead, I bought this out of my own money, and up on your screen right now is a screenshot of the order which I placed and paid for out of my own money. So if this camera is no good, I'm going to tell you point blank because I paid for it out of my own money. And by the way, here in the background, you'll see the Eachine MC02 and the MC01. One of those is really good, and one of them is pants. If you want to know which one it is, check out the YouTube channel. It's called Rag the Nuts Off. As you do. As you can tell, I fly a lot of FPV. Now, before we go and unbox her, let's go over to Banggood and see what the specifications say. So firstly, it's the TX02. It's the Super Mini, and it is very tiny. By the way, I've had a little sneak preview on it. It is kind of diddy. Now, it says AIO. Now, that stands for all-in-one. And what that means is that you've got the video transmitter and the camera in a single unit. So for example, on my desk, I've got a run cam. That's just a camera, and you would have to add in a separate video transmitter. These little units tend to be very, very small, very, very lightweight. Now, let's go back to the specifications. It says 600 TVL, which is perfectly fine, okay? In FPV, you don't want something that says HD because you just won't notice the quality. It is just an analog signal, and 600 TVL is fine. By the way, the upper limit is about 650 TVL if you're using your Fat Sharks or your other goggles. Okay, so yeah, don't get excited by this one's 1000 TVL because you're just not going to see it in the goggles. Now, it is a CMOS camera, so this kind of camera is going to have issues with light and also its dynamic range abilities. Okay, so I'm using the MC02 and the MC01 as a reference. One of them does really, really well in low light conditions, and one of them does really badly. So we need to find out how this one handles low light conditions, which is kind of handy because it's grey and overcast here today in the United Kingdom. But to be honest, that didn't stop me going out this morning and doing a bit of FPV. So happy days. Right, on to price. Right now on Banggood, it is £17.96, which is about $23 USD. So around the same kind of price as the other two. But the difference between the other two, which I got on my desk, and this one is that they are both 25 milliwatts, and this is 200 milliwatts. Okay, so what's that? 5x times the power. So if you're looking to fly a little bit further and weight is a concern for you, then 200 milliwatts could be this could be the next best thing since sliced bread. But we don't know because I haven't even powered her on yet. So let's scroll on down. Yeah, we got the 200 milliwatt, 600 TVL camera. We can already see that it's a tiny, tiny little unit. If we scroll down, we got a four-leaf clover on top. So the standard 4-leaf clover on top. We've only got a single button on the top, so I am guessing. Again, I've had a sneak peek in the box, but I'm guessing that will be hold the button down for 2 seconds to change the band, click it once to change the channel. So keep channels in the back of your mind. Now the format is NTSC rather than being PAL, and the thing is, I don't think they're going to be bringing out a PAL version. Looking at the comments, which is further down from customer questions on Banggood, is that no, there's only looks like it's going to be an NTSC. But to be frankly honest, that should be fine for most models. Okay, it will be absolutely fine. So again, I bought the NTSC one out of my own money, so use that as a reference. Lens angle 120 degrees, or dynamic field of view is 150 degrees. Not the widest of angles, but that's okay. Resolution 720 by 480. Yeah, that's fair enough because we know it's NTSC. Scrolling down, power output 200. Now current is 480 milliamp hours, so that is definitely on the higher side compared to these smaller ones. But that, to be honest, that's to be expected. We're running a 200 milliwatt transmitter compared to a 25 milliwatt transmitter. Also, audio carrier is that there's no audio with this camera. The MC02 does have a microphone on it, but you really need to see the review on that one and make an educated decision whether that one's the one for you. Now, they're saying it's about 4.5 grams. Now, my scales doesn't go down to 0.0 grams. So if it says 4 or 5, that'll be happy days. We got an they got LCD. I think that's an LED display. I might be wrong. Input voltage 3.3 to 5 volts. So there will be no strapping this one up to a 2S battery. You will need a BEC or a converter down to say 5 volts to power this one. Also on the flip side is that if you are flying a micro quad and you're running it on 2S, you can either pick up from the 5 volt rail or you can pick up from the 3.3 rail on say one of the little mini F3 flight boards. So yeah, that's not really a big problem because BECs are super cheap, and if you're thinking about this camera, all-in-one camera for a micro quadcopter, then you do have 3.3 to 5 volts available to you, even if you're running, 2S batteries on your micro quad. Transmitter, well, you'd expect that, nickel plated. Then scrolling down, we got 40 bands, which to be honest, I am only interested in the FR4, the F band. The reason why I'm interested in that is because that is the fat sharp band running across there. So that's the one which we'll be checking on. Scrolling it down, we get the camera with a cable, a separate cable and a user manual. So that's what we get in. And the only really other thing to note is the current consumption is going to be pretty high, okay, because it is 200 milliwatts of transmission power compared to 25. So that is a concern. The 25 milliwatt cameras would be better, say, for flying indoors, so you don't end up swamping each other, especially if you're flying with other people. But maybe you're flying outdoors and you want a stronger signal strength and there's only maybe just yourself or maybe one or two other pilots out flying at the same time, then yeah, 200 milliwatts would be way more than adequate. That's enough for the screen. Let's get over and unbox this little camera. So let's go and open this one up and open her up and see what we got in the box. So brilliant. I'm going to start with the accessories first. We've got a cable with a funny little tiny plug. I'm just going to... Where's the camera on this one? Over here. So look, it is a tiny diddy little plug which they've been supplied compared to the normal 1S and 2S connectors for that camera. So nice bit of foam, always keep that. You'd be surprised how often you need that for your models. Oh, and you can chop that up to make little quadcopter landing feet as well. So yeah, don't throw that away. And if we take a look at the camera itself, it is very tiny. So I'm just going to put my thumb up next to it on the camera for you. Look how small this thing is. It's about the size of my thumbnail. So if we put the ruler next to it, I'll do it in centimeters. So it's approximately, let's just say 18 millimeters wide by about 12-13 millimeters tall, the actual unit itself, and then thickness from the front of the camera to the back is about 2 centimeters, and then the total height is with a little bit of safety margin, 35 millimeters. So that's about 1.5 inches tall. Okay, so yeah, a very tiny little camera. Also, I can tell you that immediately I do like this one more than say the MC01 because inspirational. They've been and put the cables on the side. The MC01 camera has got the cables on the bottom, which makes mounting it on a model a pain in the rear. But this one is on the side. Also, if we take a nice little close look at that, and I'm trying to get this to rotate this on the iPad for you so you can see it. So there's our LCD, well, they say LCD, but I reckon that's LED screen on the back, and the little buttons on the top. All the soldering is pretty good. I've already had a quick nose around it. And there's plenty of glue around the actual lens itself to stop it coming undone. So let's just hope that really is in focus. Brilliant. We've got a user manual which comes with it. Doesn't particularly look that exciting. Specification parameters, the on-off switch. adjustable gears, ground. Short press to adjust channel 1 to 8. Press and hold for 2 seconds to transfer for A, B, E, F and R. Adjustable with short press. Press and hold the button for 5 seconds to adjust on off. Okay. And 0 stands for off and equals stands for on. So it looks like you can turn this module on and off by holding down that button for 5 seconds. I didn't expect that. So yeah. Happy days. Let's go and grab ourselves a 1S battery and get it connected up. And that looks like a single cell one to me. Yeah, no idea what charge we've got on here. Oh, we also need the fat sharks out. Well, I tell you what, I won't get the fat sharks out. I'll get the other goggles out. And the reason why I'm getting the other ones out is because it's got a much larger screen on there, so you can actually see the picture which we have. So let me just get those popped on. Again, these were made by Eachine, funny enough. They're fantastic. It's the VR 007 goggles. So I'm just going to put those over to the left. Let's get this plugged in and make sure we get this round the right way round, which we do. Brilliant. And by the way, if I'm frankly honest, what I would probably do is solder up, put this on the camera, I would probably cut this cable short and then solder it to that one, so it's just got a standard little 1S 2S battery connector on it. Brilliant. Oh, I needed to check the weight, didn't I? So let me just turn the scales on, stand up so I can see it. 5 grams. So yeah, absolutely diddy. So if you're flying a little tiny model, it really isn't going to make much difference, to be honest. Right. Let's get her powered up. So I'm going to just double check the wiring on here. We got black to black, red to red. Brilliant. Let's plug her in. Brilliant. Oh, nice little blue LCD screen on the back of that. That's a nice touch. Can you see that? Let me see if I can get this to focus properly on here for you. Nice little blue LCD screen. I do like that. Normally, they are red. So that's pretty cool. So it's telling us channel A1. So I'm just going to press and hold the button on the goggles. Oh, wow. Picture. It just flicked through the picture quality on there. And that did look really, really good. Come on. So I'm having first dibs. Yeah, that's well cool. Let me see if I can put this on the other camera for you. So again, I genuinely don't know how that's going to come out for you. And let me just bring that back just in case it's got a bit of glare on there. I can tell you, if you can't see that properly, I can tell you that the image quality is very, very good. And let me just move across to the iPad to see if that comes out a little bit better, so I can get that in the right place. There, that should be about right. So hopefully you can see that okay. I can tell you straight off, that is a very, very good picture. It's not washed out. I can see the blue of the iPad very easily, moving it around. And I tell you what, I'm just going to do one of the best tests which you can do for a CMOS camera, is that above my desk, it's very, very bright. So you can see I've got the camera up here. And then I'm going to... Okay, I can tell you the light conditions on this, the light handling on this camera is really, really good. The reason being, it's very bright up here on my desk because I've got a big lamp up there. I've got 4 screens pointing down at us. So it's very, very bright. But with these CMOS cameras, what you can find is that in dark or overcast conditions, is that its light handling, its dynamic range can be absolutely terrible. But one of the simplest ways to test that is to take it from a bright environment, and then I've just popped it underneath my desk into the dark, and it handles really, really well. And let me see if I can do this and show you on the iPad at the same time. So this is going to be a little bit sketchy, and I'll probably hit the iPad, so I'm sure you can appreciate what's going on. So you'll see that it's nice and bright here, and let me make sure that's in view for you. Okay, and I'll pop that underneath. Did you see how quickly that adjusted to the light? There was no blackness. That and I'm just trying to get it to look. No. Wow. Okay, let's go and get her outside and see what she's like outside, because that is extremely promising. I've done that with other FPV cameras before, especially the little cheapo ones like the MC02, and it just can't handle it. But that, happy days, looks like it's a good one. Brilliant. So I'm going to go and get this mounted up on a little bit of balsa wood, and I'll take it out, into the woods just next door to us, and we'll look up at the sky, and we'll then push it down at the ground, and we'll see what the reaction is. So I will be back with you by the magic of video editing in about 2 seconds, and let's go outside and see what it does outside in the real world. So I've been and come outside, and there we go. I can be pretty much real world, and you'll notice over to the right hand side it's quite dark, but the second we bring the camera around it will pick that up. And if we bring the camera up, so imagine that's the nose of your model up in the sky, is that we can still see the green of the hedge there. It's not completely blacking out. Admittedly, it is struggling with that hedge over there. And let's bring it round and take it down here, which is a bit odd because I got the fat sharks on. So if you see me fall over, you know why. But yeah, look how it's quite dark down here. And it's doing really, really, really well. So yeah, I'd class this as kind of tough conditions, and if you were going to be flying this indoors, then it would be perfectly fine. So let me just adjust my goggles a sec. There we go. Right, so yeah, if you were flying indoors, this camera would be mental, as in really, really good. But look, can you see that we do have that issue with what we would always get with CMOS cameras, that it does go kind of dark if we point it right at the sky into the brightness. But if we bring her down slowly, look, you'll see it brightening out. That would be perfectly acceptable to fly, and it's not particularly bright down here, and it's doing a really, really good job. Now I think that camera lens has got a slight bit of distortion in it. I don't know if you can see that when I'm moving it left and right, but hey ho, look, remember I paid for this out of my own money, and I paid for the express shipping. Am I a happy camper? I think I am, because I was intending to stick this on a little micro quad and fly it round in here. So imagine that I'm pelting it around with a micro quad in here going up. I'll tell you what, I'll walk over that way. And this is really weird trying to do this with the fat sharks on. Like I said, if you see me fall over, you know what's going on. So I want to go that way. And I'm going to... Whoa, that was a big hole. Look, if I was... that branch. Look, if I was flying, or if you were flying a micro quad through here... Spot on. Happy days. Right, let's go and get ourselves back to the desk, because I'm a happy camper. And again, bright. Look, the ground's not going black. That MC02 camera would have crapped out in here, and this one is perfectly acceptable. Right, let's get ourselves back to the desk before I fall over. So we're back at the desk. Happy days. The image quality on that was, for what is sub 20 quid, so just over $20, absolutely fantastic. It beats the MC02 hands down. It's on par with the MC01, and again, they're all made by Eachine. And yeah, you saw the environment which I'd be flying this in. And yes, it did struggle when we took her up high and then put her down low. That is to be expected. It's just one of the characteristics of a CMOS camera. Again, considering this is a budget device. But wow. Okay, in short, wow. Happy days. Am I impressed? Yes. Remember, I bought this camera out of my own money. And as always, one of my acid tests is that if I dropped and stood on this camera and broke it, would I honestly go and buy another one? And I can tell you immediately is yes. That we can tell from that brief test out there, it's going to be a good one. Flying around either on micro quad, on a flying wing, or another fixed wing model, happy days. This is going to be spot on. It's because it weighs 5 grams. It's going to make no difference to the flight characteristics of even the smallest of models. Yeah, happy days. I'm a super happy camper. Now, before I go, I do want to just show you this little menu system on the back, because I did think it was really, really cool. So I'm going to turn that around so you can see it over there on the iPad. So it will be, there we go, that's a little bit better. So it's telling us that we are channel F5. So that is on the Fat Sharp band. And we're on channel 5. Now, if you press the button down for 2 seconds on the top, look, see it's flashing. And now if you press the button quickly there, you'll see that it's gone to band R. Okay, so let me do that again. There we go. And I'm just going to, there, we're now on band B. And then we can change, oh no, there we go. We're cycling through. Let's go to band A. Let that finish for a moment. There we go, A5. And if I press the button again, we're now on A6. Very, very cool indeed. None of the other little small FPV, micro FPV cameras, the all-in-one units which I've got, do that. That is by far a much easier menu. I do like the little blue lights on the back. I'm frankly honest, I'm a bloke. The blue lights do look super cool. Also, there's none of these extra wires which you get with these, so for changing via PWM like a spare channel with your receiver, that's rarely needed, to be frankly honest. So it doesn't have that feature on here, but there's no extra plugs in here, so you can put your own incorporate an on-screen display like potentially you could do with one of the other 2 cameras. But on the flip side, brilliant, decent image quality, decent image handling, so the light range handling, that's going to be perfectly flyable. The only negative I can give you right now, and you won't be able to see this on the camera, so you can't see what's going on, is that this is getting rather toasty warm on the back. Okay, so when I was out there carrying this around, I don't know how long I can hold my thumb on the back of that camera, and we've only had it on for a few seconds. So yeah, it's getting rather warm. That does have a negative effect, or an implication for you if you were to buy this camera. And by the way, I'll put a purchase link to this camera for Banggood underneath this video for you, is that you would want to mechanically fix this camera down. Okay, if you were to use hot glue, okay, and then hot glue this in on the bottom of a model, is that over time or long usage, there is a chance that you might melt that hot glue, okay, because that backboard is, yeah, that's as long as I can hold my fingers on my thumb on the back, or as long as I dare anyway, before getting a tattoo off in the shape of a IC chip. So yeah, heat is a bit of a concern, so definitely a mechanical fixing to hold that down. Something just as simple as a cable tie would do that. So yeah, it's going to add another gram to the weight. And maybe a cable tie, so I'll put this over on the iPad for you, a cable tie over this right hand side just to hold us still would be more than enough to hold it in one place. And of course you could also do it diagonally and get it on the right hand side of the antenna and then bring it down to the left, again depending what you're fixing this to. That's the only negative which I can tell you, but honestly I'm super impressed with this one. And yeah, I can't wait to get this mounted up on a model and get it flying as soon as I can. But it won't be today because I've already been out flying some FPV on the flying wings. So maybe, oh no, it's raining tomorrow. Maybe for the weekend, we'll see. So as always, I sincerely hope that this video has been helpful to you. If it has, you can do me a favor, press the like button underneath this video because it all helps. And if you are thinking about purchasing one of these, the purchase link is in the video description just underneath this video for you too. If you have any questions at all about the TX02 all-in-one FPV camera, please just ask. I've got it here in my hands, and remember, I bought this out of my own cash, so if you've got a question about it, I will give you an honest reply, because remember, I paid for it, and if it was pants like that camera over there, I will tell you, because ultimately I paid for it, and I'm going to be using it. So, time for us to wrap up. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to watch this episode. And as always, from myself, Matt, cheerios!